Chapter 60, The Weight of Being Chosen, Part 1. Several days later, deep within a secluded chamber hidden inside Greyfard Palace, silver energy flowed throughout Alex's body. Again and again and again, every circulation cycle pushed the violent magicules inside him toward balance. The battle against Morveth had nearly destroyed his body. His veins had been thrown into complete turmoil. Even now, the aftereffects remained. Yet something else had changed that night. Something far more important. During his battle against Morveth, the first lock of his moon-shaped constitution had finally opened. A power sealed since the very beginning. A power that even Alex himself had yet to fully understand. Across from him, Aurelyn quietly observed. Her silver eyes followed every movement of energy flowing through his body. Watching, studying, waiting. Then suddenly, she spoke. Alex. Alex slowly opened his eyes. What is it? Aurelyn folded her arms. For several moments, she remained silent, as though deciding how to explain something troublesome. Then she sighed. I need your help. Alex immediately became cautious, because in his experience, when powerful people asked for favors, those favors usually became disasters. What kind of help? For the first time, Aurelyn looked genuinely troubled. My 7 disciples. The rainbows. Alex blinked. He remembered them. The 7 emotionless women dressed in white. The women who obeyed Aurelyn without question. What about them? Aurelyn rubbed her forehead. They possessed strength. They possessed loyalty. They possessed discipline. They possessed intelligence. Then she paused, but they lacked the most important thing. Alex raised an eyebrow. Aurelyn pointed toward the door. They don't understand emotions. Alex stared. Aurelyn continued. They don't laugh. They don't cry. They don't become embarrassed. They don't become angry. They simply obey. Aurelyn sighed heavily. They're basically 7 walking statues. Silence filled the room. Alex wasn't sure if she was joking. The worst part, she looked completely serious. Then Aurelyn looked directly into his eyes. I want you to teach your senior sisters that a heart must have emotion. Silence. Long silence. Alex simply stared at her. Aurelyn stared back. Neither side moved. Then, the story begins several days earlier. The morning after Morveth Drager's death. Warm sunlight slowly entered the infirmary through the palace windows. The atmosphere felt strangely peaceful. For the first time in many days, Greyfard was quiet. No vates, no screams, no explosions, only silence. One by one, the injured began awakening. Royal guards returned to their duties. Servants resumed their work. Messengers hurried throughout the palace carrying reports. Greyfard had survived. Now it had to recover. Lyssara awakened. Aelyra awakened. Alex's companions awakened. Even many heavily wounded guards regained consciousness. Yet one bed remained occupied. Alex. Hours passed. Nothing changed. His breathing remained calm. His heartbeat remained steady. His injuries had almost completely healed. Yet he refused to wake. At first, nobody paid much attention. After all, he had fought Morveth. Everyone expected him to need rest. But as the hours passed, worries slowly began spreading throughout the infirmary. Everyone else had awakened. Only Alex remained asleep. Lyssara sat beside a nearby window, reading reports, signing orders, giving instructions. Yet every now and then, her eyes drifted toward Alex. Aelyra noticed it, but said nothing. She herself occasionally glanced toward Alex as well. Alex's friends weren't much different. Some sat quietly. Some spoke softly among themselves. But every conversation eventually returned to the same topic. Alex. Eventually, the infirmary doors opened. Aurelyn entered. The room immediately became quieter. Not because anyone feared her, but because everyone remembered what they had witnessed the previous night. The destruction of the Drager clan. The effortless defeat of Morveth. The blood-covered white dress. The terrifying calmness afterward. Aurelyn approached Alex's bed. Without speaking, she placed her hand upon his forehead. The room became completely silent. Everyone watched, waiting. Several moments passed. Then Aurelyn nodded. He is fine. A collective sigh spread through the room. Aelyra stepped forward. Then why hasn't he awakened? Aurelyn smiled faintly. Because his body is changing. That answer only created more questions. But nobody interrupted. Aurelyn slowly looked around the room. You should all rest. He won't awaken anytime soon. This time, nobody argued. Lyssara closed a report in her hands. Greyfard needed its ruler. The kingdom was drowning beneath investigations. Political consequences, economic reports, military reports. Duty called. She stood, then walked toward Alex's bed. For several moments, she simply looked at him. The boy who had changed Greyfard more than anyone expected. Then she smiled faintly. Wake up soon. With that, Lyssara left. Soon after, Aelyra also departed. The royal guards needed their captain. One by one, others followed, until Aurelyn noticed someone who hadn't moved at all. Aelyra. She remained seated beside Alex's bed. Not once had she considered leaving. Aurelyn tilted her head. And why are you still here? Aelyra didn't answer immediately. Instead, she looked toward Alex. For several moments, she simply watched him sleep. Then finally, she spoke. I'm not leaving. Her voice remained firm. I won't leave Alex's side, no matter who asks. The room became quiet. Aelyra fully expected rejection. Instead, Aurelyn smiled, a genuine smile. Then she gently touched Aelyra's cheek. Silly girl. Aelyra froze. You've fallen quite hard for him, haven't you? The meaning didn't register immediately. Then it did. Her eyes widened. A heartbeat later, her entire face turned bright red. Aurelyn. The poor girl nearly jumped from her chair. Aurelyn laughed softly, a rare sound. Then she decided to save Aelyra from further embarrassment. White whale. You should rest. I won't harm him. And while I'm watching him, nobody else will either. Aelyra remained hesitant. Seeing this, Aurelyn sighed. I didn't intend to reveal this. Then she pointed toward Alex. But you're as stubborn as Lyssara, and just as stubborn as him. As she spoke words that changed everything. Your friend is my grand student. Silence. Aelyra blinked. Aurelyn continued. The people who trained him, both of them were my students. So tell me, why would I ever harm my own grand student? This time, Aelyra truly believed her. Because Alex had spoken about his masters. Very few knew that information. Yet Aurelyn did. And more importantly, Aelyra understood one simple truth. If Aurelyn wished to harm Alex, nobody in Greyfard could stop her. Not Lyssara, not Aelyra, not anyone. Slowly, her guard lowered. Then finally, she nodded and left. The room became silent once again. Only Aurelyn and Alex remained. For several long moments, Aurelyn simply stared at the sleeping boy. Then she raised her hand. Space distorted. 7 figures appeared instantly. The rainbows. All 7 women stood silently, waiting. Aurelyn's expression became serious. Alex remains under observation. One of you will remain beside him at all times. If anything changes, if anything unusual happens, you will report it immediately. The 7 women bowed. As you command. Aurelyn looked toward Alex one final time. A strange curiosity appeared within her eyes, because even she had begun wondering what exactly had awakened inside him that night. Just as Aurelyn left, the 7 women, known as the Rainbow, surrounded Alex. None of them spoke. None of them showed any emotion. They simply looked at him, silently, carefully, as if trying to understand something. Deep down, perhaps all of them were thinking the same thing. Why was Aurelyn protecting this boy? For several moments, the 7 women exchanged nothing more than glances. Yet somehow, it felt as though an entire conversation had taken place between them. Then one by one, 6 of them departed. Only a single woman remained behind. Not too close, not too far, simply watching Alex. Meanwhile, inside a temporary chamber prepared for Lady Lyssara, the ruler of Greyfard was drowning beneath paperwork. Reports, reconstruction plans, casualty lists, supply requests. The war had ended, but the consequences had only begun. Outside, workers and soldiers had already started rebuilding sections of the damaged capital. Inside, Lyssara continued reviewing document after document. Then suddenly, Aurelyn appeared, without warning, without sound. Yet Lyssara didn't even look up. She completely ignored her. Several moments passed. Finally, Aurelyn released an exaggerated sigh. A loud one, the kind designed specifically to be annoying. Then she spoke. "My Lady Lyssara, you haven't spoken properly to me since yesterday. Come on, I know you have many things to deal with, but this is getting ridiculous." Lyssara continued reading. Aurelyn waited. Nothing. Finally, Lyssara lowered the report in her hand. Her eyes moved toward Aurelyn, and her voice was as blunt as possible. "I didn't like what you did." Aurelyn tilted her head. "The Morveth Clan." The room became quiet. Lyssara continued. "Morveth crossed me. He rebelled. He attacked the throne. Killing him was justified." Her fingers tapped lightly against the desk. "But wiping out an entire clan?" Her eyes narrowed. "That was excessive." Silence followed. For a moment, Aurelyn didn't answer. Instead, she walked toward the nearby window. Her eyes drifted across the city. Workers rebuilding damaged roads. Soldiers carrying supplies. Citizens trying to return to normal life. Only then did she speak. "Do you truly believe that?" Lyssara frowned. Aurelyn turned toward her. "Tell me honestly, if Morveth had survived, would he have surrendered?" No answer came, because both women already knew the truth. Aurelyn continued. "He would have fought until his final breath. He would have spent every remaining day opposing you, and his clan would have followed." She paused, because they loved him, because they respected him, because they believed in him. The room grew quieter. Then Aurelyn asked another question. "What about his children? What about his grandchildren? What about the generation after that?" Her eyes met Lyssara's. "Would they remember your mercy? Or would they remember the day their clan fell?" Lyssara remained silent. Aurelyn's voice hardened. "They would seek revenge. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe not next year. But eventually, someone always does." Silence returned. Both women had lived long enough to understand how hatred worked. Finally, Lyssara leaned back slightly. "And that's enough reason to erase an entire bloodline?" Aurelyn didn't answer immediately. For the first time, her expression became unreadable. Then she spoke. "Not every decision is pleasant. Some are simply necessary." Lyssara looked away. She hated that answer, perhaps because she disagreed, or perhaps because she feared she would have made the same choice under different circumstances. Then Aurelyn suddenly asked, "What would you say about Morveth's loyalty?" The answer came instantly. He was loyal, too loyal. If his ruler ordered him to cut his own throat, he would have done it without hesitation. That was the kind of man Morveth was, and his clan followed the same principles. Aurelyn nodded slowly. "And yet, even a man that loyal stood against you." Lyssara's eyes narrowed. Aurelyn continued. "If someone like Morveth was willing to rebel, what do you think his followers would do? What do you think future generations would do?" The room fell silent once again, because the answer remained the same. Revenge. Eventually, Lyssara released a slow breath. Then suddenly, she changed the subject entirely. "You asked me something before." Aurelyn raised an eyebrow. Lyssara continued. "You asked whether I was becoming too attached to Alex." For the first time, Aurelyn looked slightly uncomfortable, a rare sight. Then Lyssara's gaze sharpened. "What about you?" Silence. "You summoned a rainbow. You personally intervened. You wiped out an entire clan." Her eyes never left Aurelyn. "How many rules did you break in a single day?" Aurelyn remained silent. Lyssara pressed further. "If another student had been standing there, would you have done the same?" Silence. A long silence. Aurelyn had no answer, because both women already knew the truth. She wouldn't have, and that was the problem. Lyssara leaned forward slightly. "You once told me never to become emotionally involved. You lectured me for years. You warned me countless times." A faint smile appeared on her face. "And now look at you." Aurelyn looked away. For the first time in a very long time, she found herself unable to argue, because she had broken every principle she once claimed to follow. Every boundary, every promise, one by one, all because of a single student. Eventually, the conversation shifted. Reconstruction efforts. the future of the tournament, how much information should be released to the public, how to explain the battle, how to restore confidence throughout the kingdom. The discussion continued normally, yet beneath every topic, the same unspoken thought lingered. Alex. Neither woman realized it, but the person responsible for so many recent changes was currently fighting a battle of his own, not against an enemy, not against a rival, but against himself. A battle no one else could see, a battle hidden deep within his own mind, unknown to everyone in the real world. Alex was walking through his own inner world. Far ahead, a single white light moved through the endless void. It wasn't standing still, it was running. Alex chased it relentlessly. Sweat dripped down his forehead, proving just how long the pursuit had lasted. As he ran, he called out again and again. "Lyssara, stop hiding. We need to talk. This is my inner world. Stop playing games with me." Silence. No answer. No footsteps. No voice. Only the endless darkness and the distant white light. Finally, Alex came to a stop. He lowered his head and took a deep breath. "This is pointless." A small smile appeared on his face. "Of course, we share the same inner world, and you're a mythical class beast. If you want to play cat and mouse, I'll never catch you." He slowly looked around the endless darkness. Then his expression changed. "If I can't chase you, I'll make it impossible for you to run." Alex closed his eyes. His will spread throughout the entire inner world. "This world belongs to me. It's only infinite because I believe it's infinite." The darkness trembled, one after another. Massive gates appeared throughout the void. Ancient stone doors, gigantic iron walls, like an enormous castle sealing itself from the inside. Every possible path, locked. Every escape, closed. The white light suddenly changed direction. Again and again, searching desperately for another path. But every route disappeared. The space around it continued shrinking, closer, closer, until the white light finally stopped. Standing directly before Alex was Lyssara. She let out a low growl. Her golden eyes remained fixed on him. Slowly, she circled around him like a wild predator. Her sharp teeth gleamed in the darkness. Another growl escaped her throat. Alex simply watched. Then he sighed. "Stop pretending. I know you're not some mindless beast." No response, only another louder growl. Alex rubbed his forehead. "So that's how you want to play? Fine. We'll play by your rules." He raised one hand. The darkness itself responded. Countless glowing chains burst into existence. They shot through the air from every direction. Within a heartbeat, they wrapped around Lyssara. Her neck, her legs, her body, her tail. Every movement was restrained. Still, she refused to speak. Alex tightened his fist. The chains slowly pulled tighter. Lyssara struggled, still silent. Alex tightened them further. Then, a frightened voice echoed through the darkness. "Alex, please, stop. You're hurting me." Another pause. Then she whispered, "Master, please stop." Alex's expression immediately softened. His hand relaxed. Instantly, every chain disappeared as though they had never existed. Silence returned. Alex looked directly into Lyssara's eyes. "No more games. I want answers. What happened back there? You became someone completely different. And that attack, the claw of destruction, what was it?" Lyssara lowered her head. She released a long sigh. "It wasn't entirely me. It was your hatred. When you saw Lady Lyssara, you experienced pure hatred. And because we share the same inner world, my emotions were affected too." She slowly looked away. It awakened something I buried long ago. There was a time when I hated humanity more than anything. A time before you tamed me. For a moment, I became that beast again. She paused. "The full story. I'll tell you someday. But not yet." Alex remained silent. Everything finally began making sense. Then he asked another question. "What about the claw of destruction?" Lyssara's ears twitched. "That even surprised me. You somehow unlocked the first seal of your constitution. Because of that, you temporarily gained access to one of my abilities, the Claw of Destruction. You used it instinctively, but now you can learn to use it yourself. With enough focus and practice, you'll be able to control it. She continued, unlocking your constitution also increase your body's capacity for magicules. Your veins have begun adapting to your hidden power. Your physical abilities are already moving beyond ordinary humans. And she smiled faintly. Your existing skill, Blood Hunt, it may have evolved as well. We'll only know once we test it. Alex quietly nodded. Then he stepped forward. He gently placed one hand on Lyssara's soft fur. His voice became calm. Gentle, Lyssara, never run from me again. We share the same fate, so we also share the same darkness. What happened wasn't just your burden, it was ours. So don't ever carry it alone. Lyssara froze. Her heart trembled. She wanted to answer. She wanted to thank him. But before she could speak, Alex had already turned around. Without looking back, he simply raised one hand. A quiet goodbye. Such a small gesture, yet those few words meant more to Lyssara than anything she had ever heard. At that very moment, in the real world, Alex slowly opened his eyes. The woman assigned to watch over him immediately noticed. She stepped closer, but the moment their eyes met, she froze. Those eyes, they carried the weight of countless battles, the weight of unbearable sorrow, and something far older than either of them could understand. Remembering Aurelyn's orders, she immediately vanished to report Alex's awakening. Moments later, another woman silently appeared, taking her place beside his bed, watching, waiting, because whatever had awakened inside Alex, the world was about to witness it. Alex slowly opened his eyes. Bright light greeted him. For several moments, his vision remained blurry. Everything around him looked unfamiliar. The ceiling, the walls, the quiet room. Only after a few seconds did his vision finally adjust. The first person he saw was Aurelyn. Alex immediately tried to sit up, but the moment his feet touched the floor, his legs gave way beneath him. His body had forgotten its own weight. Just as he was about to fall, a gentle pair of hands caught him. One of the rainbow women silently supported him before helping him back onto the bed. Aurelyn smiled faintly. Easy, child. Don't force yourself. You've been asleep for far longer than you realize. Give your body time to remember how to move again. She paused before continuing. And don't worry, I've already informed your friends. They should arrive any moment. The moment she finished speaking, Alex looked directly at her. How long was I unconscious? Is everyone all right? Is Lady Lyssara safe? What happened to Morveth? Question after question escaped his mouth without pause. Aurelyn simply raised one hand. One question at a time, child. The person you trust the most will answer everything. You only need to wait a little longer. She stepped closer, then gently placed her hand against Alex's forehead. A soft stream of magic flowed into his body. For only a brief moment, Aurelyn's calm expression disappeared. Her eyes widened ever so slightly. She had sensed it. The first seal of Alex's constitution had already awakened. Alex noticed a change in her expression immediately. Their eyes met. Neither of them spoke. Some truths didn't need words. Aurelyn slowly withdrew her hand. You have many questions, and I have many answers, but this isn't the right time. Rest. Adjust to your body. When the time comes, we'll talk. With those words, Aurelyn quietly left the room. Only a few moments later, the door opened again. Aelyra hurried inside with a bright smile. The moment she saw Alex sitting awake, relief completely replaced the worry on her face. Without hesitation, she sat beside him. Welcome back. I was honestly starting to think you'd sleep forever. Alex couldn't help but smile, but his curiosity only grew stronger. Exactly how long had he been asleep? Before he could ask, the door opened once again. Lady Lyssara entered. Alex immediately tried to stand again, but Lyssara simply raised one hand. No, stay where you are. You've already worried everyone enough. You've taken quite the long nap. Alex froze. He simply stared at Lyssara. She looked healthy, alive, standing before him, the weight crushing his chest since waking. Finally eased. For the first time, he allowed himself to breathe. Then, Hurried footsteps echoed through the hallway. The door burst open. Alex! Aelyra rushed inside, breathing heavily. It was obvious she had run the entire way after hearing he had awakened. She took one step forward, then suddenly stopped, because Lyssara was still inside the room. Normally, Aelyra would have ignored everyone and rushed straight toward Alex. But this time, she hesitated. That tiny hesitation didn't escape Alex's notice. Something had changed while he was asleep. Lyssara noticed it too. A faint smile appeared on her face. She looked towards Aelyra. I think the two friends have quite a lot to talk about. She deliberately emphasized the word. Friends, just enough for Alex to notice. Aelyra immediately understood. The two quietly walked toward the door. Before leaving, Alex noticed something else. A brief exchange of glances between Lyssara and Aelyra. No words, just silent understanding. The door closed. The room became quiet, for only a single heartbeat. Then, Aelyra rushed forward. Without saying a word, she wrapped both arms around Alex, holding him tightly. Her shoulders trembled. You slept for far too long. We were so scared. I really thought you weren't going to wake up. Her voice cracked. Tears quietly rolled down her cheeks. Alex gently brushed them away with his thumb. A soft smile appeared on his face. I'm all right. Then his expression became serious again. He looked directly into Aelyra's eyes. Tell me, how long was I asleep? And what happened while I was gone? I want to know everything. Aelyra took a slow breath. Her expression gradually became solemn, because the story she was about to tell would change everything Alex believed he knew. Aelyra didn't continue immediately. Instead, she closed her eyes and drew in a long, trembling breath. Her fingers unconsciously tightened around each other, as if she were gathering the courage to relive everything that happened. Alex watched her quietly. He could tell this wasn't going to be easy. Far too many things had happened while he had been wandering through the endless darkness of his own consciousness. Finally, Aelyra opened her eyes. They were calm, but they carried a sadness Alex had never seen before. Alex, she spoke softly, please don't interrupt me. There are many things you need to know. I'll explain everything, but I need you to listen until the end. No matter what you hear, please stay calm. Alex looked into her eyes for several seconds before giving a silent nod. All right, I am listening. Aelyra released another slow breath before finally beginning. First, you've been asleep for almost 2 weeks. Alex's eyes widened. 2 weeks? She nodded. Your body never looked lifeless. Every time someone came to visit you, it felt like you would wake up at any moment. But you never opened your eyes. Miss Aurelyn examined you every single day. She told us your consciousness had become trapped inside your own world. She said no one could wake you. You had to find your own way back. A faint smile appeared on Aelyra's face. Every morning, we believed today would finally be the day. And every night, we left disappointed. She lowered her head. We never stopped waiting for you. Alex remained silent. A strange guilt slowly settled in his chest. He had been fighting countless battles inside his own mind, never realizing that outside. The people who cared about him had been waiting every single day. Aelyra continued. While you were unconscious, the tournament became public knowledge. Alex frowned. It spread throughout the whole of Greyfard. The factions opposing Lady Lyssara accused her of secretly selecting candidates for the death game. They questioned why something that would decide Greyfard's future had been hidden from the public. The betting system surrounding the tournament was immediately shut down. Many influential families condemned it as inhumane. They claimed lives should never become entertainment. The criticism grew stronger with each passing day. She looked toward the palace window. Lady Lyssara was forced to answer accusations from every direction. And because every candidate had already become known throughout Greyfard, we were ordered to remain inside the palace. It was declared a matter of safety. The palace has nearly been repaired now. She paused, but another piece of news spread even faster. The destruction of the Morveth Clan. Alex slowly lowered his eyes. Aelyra continued. Many families believe Lady Lyssara abused her authority. They argue that the Morveth Clan had served Greyfard faithfully for generations. They say destroying such an ancient clan proves she can no longer be trusted as ruler. The entire kingdom became divided. Supporters defended her. Her enemies demanded she step down. Alex quietly listened. He already understood. None of this would have been easy for Lyssara. The pressure continued to grow. So, Lady Lyssara made a declaration before the entire kingdom. Aelyra's voice became even softer. She announced, if her chosen candidate fails to obtain first rank in the coming death game, she will surrender the throne. Alex's breathing stopped for a brief moment. She further declared that Greyfard's next ruler would be chosen by the people themselves. Aelyra slowly nodded. She wagered everything. Her throne, her reputation, her future, everything. The room fell silent. Alex couldn't help but admire the resolve behind such a decision. A ruler willing to gamble her entire future either possessed absolute confidence or absolute desperation. Aelyra continued. Most of Greyfard accepted her declaration. The unrest slowly began to settle. But not everyone was satisfied. There were still several powerful families who demanded punishment. They refused to believe words alone were enough. They demanded someone answer for the destruction of the Morveth Clan. Alex slowly closed his eyes. He already knew there was only one person they would target. Miss Aurelyn. Aelyra silently nodded. Lady Lyssara refused. Again and again. She protected Miss Aurelyn with everything she could. But eventually, she made the hardest decision of her life. Tears slowly formed in Aelyra's eyes. She ordered Miss Aurelyn to receive public punishment. Alex's fingers tightened around the bedsheet. His breathing became heavier. They tied her before the gathered crowd. Elders, clan leaders, family heads, they each took turns striking her with the whip. No one held back. The punishment continued. For half an entire day, they only stopped after Miss Aurelyn finally lost consciousness. Alex's knuckles turned white. The bedsheet beneath his hand began to tear. A faint ripple of aura escaped from his body. Aelyra noticed immediately, but she continued. Her punishment didn't end there. They refused to let anyone treat her wounds. Instead, they poured cold water mixed with salt across every injury. They wanted to force her awake. They wanted her to continue feeling the pain. A tear rolled down Aelyra's cheek. And after all of that, they left her tied there for 3 full days. Silence. The room became deathly quiet. Alex slowly tried to stand. His body trembled violently. Before he could take even one step, Aelyra gently grabbed his arm. Alex, I know what Miss Aurelyn means to you. I know you're hurting, and I know you want to see her right now. Her voice shook. But, please, not yet. Alex remained frozen. Inside his mind, he couldn't stop imagining it. His grand teacher, the woman who had guided his both teacher and maybe acted because of him, who had stood beside him through everything, standing alone before an entire kingdom, enduring every strike without anyone coming to save her. His fists clenched so tightly that drops of blood slowly escaped between his fingers. Aelyra quietly stepped closer. Without saying another word, she simply stood beside him, giving him the silence he needed, the silence to grieve, the silence to calm the storm inside his heart. And after what felt like an eternity, a single tear slowly rolled down Alex's face. He quickly wiped it away before anyone else could see it. Only then did Aelyra prepare to continue. After allowing Alex enough time to gather himself, Aelyra finally continued. The tournament has officially been postponed for 15 days. Until then, every candidate has been granted permission to remain inside Lady Lyssara's palace. We've been receiving guidance from different masters every single day. A faint smile appeared on her face. I've been training under Azurella Blue, one of Miss Aurelyn's closest supporters. She said Miss Aurelyn personally asked her to continue our training if anything ever happened. Alex quietly lowered his eyes. Even while enduring unimaginable suffering, His grand teacher had never stopped thinking about others. The realization only deepened the respect and gratitude he already held for her. Aelyra slowly lowered her head. "That's everything," she whispered. The room became silent once again. Alex remained quiet for several long moments. Something still felt unfinished. She had answered every question, except one. Slowly, he reached forward and gently held her hand. "Aelyra," she looked up. "What happened between you and Lady Lyssara? And please, don't lie to me. I promised I wouldn't react, but I need to know." Aelyra immediately shook her head. "No, I'd rather not." Her cheeks had already begun turning pink. Alex smiled faintly. He didn't force her. He simply continued holding her hand. His eyes silently told her he wasn't asking because he was suspicious. He was asking because he wanted to understand. Aelyra let out a defeated sigh. Her face slowly turned crimson. She closed her eyes, gathering every bit of courage she had. Finally, she spoke. "Lady Lyssara realized that I had feelings for you." Alex blinked. For a brief moment, he thought he had heard her wrong. Aelyra continued without daring to look at him. "She told me that your future was too important. She said you have a path that only you can walk. And if I stayed too close to you, I might become a distraction. So, she ordered me to keep my distance from you. I refused. We argued. I told her I didn't care. I only wanted to stay by your side." A faint smile appeared on her lips as she remembered the argument. "But she reminded me that this was her palace. And while I remained here, I had to respect her authority. So, she ordered me not to get close to you." Silence filled the room. Alex simply stared at her. That was the last answer he had expected. All this time, he had imagined something far worse. Instead, he learned that the girl standing before him had challenged the ruler of Greyfard, simply because she refused to leave his side. His face slowly grew warm. Aelyra noticed immediately. Embarrassed, she lowered her head even further. Alex couldn't help but let out a quiet laugh. Not because it was funny, but because he silently cursed himself. Why did I have to ask? Now my heart is even more confused. He rubbed his forehead before releasing a long, helpless sigh. Several moments passed before he finally spoke. "Aelyra," she slowly looked at him. A gentle smile appeared on Alex's face. "You really are an incredible woman. The most beautiful, the most caring, and the most supportive woman I've ever known." Aelyra's heart skipped a beat. Alex continued, "It would truly be an honor to fall in love with someone like you." Her eyes widened. Hope slowly began to shine within them. But Alex's smile became softer. "I need time. A lot of time. So much has happened while I was asleep. My grand teacher suffered. Lady Lyssara placed her throne on the line. And now, I've learned how much you've sacrificed because of me." He slowly shook his head. "My heart is trying to understand everything. I don't want to answer you simply because my emotions are overwhelming me. I want my answer to come from a heart that has had time to accept everything." He gently tightened his hold on her hands. "So, can you wait for me? I know it isn't fair to ask, but I want to be honest with you." Aelyra looked quietly into his eyes. She searched them for hesitation, for rejection, for pity, but she found none. She found only honesty. Slowly, a warm smile spread across her face. "I can wait. If it's you, I'll wait, no matter how long it takes." Alex felt the weight on his chest become just a little lighter. He smiled, without another word. He gently pulled Aelyra into a warm embrace. She rested her head against his chest without resisting. For the first time in many days, she allowed herself to relax. Neither of them spoke. Words were no longer necessary. The steady rhythm of Alex's heartbeat and the warmth of Aelyra's embrace were enough. Outside the room, Greyfard continued to struggle beneath the weight of politics, betrayal, and the coming death game. Tomorrow, the battles would continue. The kingdom would once again demand sacrifices. But tonight, two lonely hearts found comfort in one another. They were not lovers. Not yet, but both of them quietly understood that this was the beginning of something worth waiting for. So, You have just listened to Chapter 60 Part 1 of The Broken Realm. Alex has finally awakened after 2 long weeks. But the world he returned to is no longer the same. The tournament has been exposed. Greyfard is divided. Lady Lyssara has placed her throne on the line. And Miss Aurelyn has already paid a terrible price. But now, Alex knows the truth. And the question is, what will Alex do when he finally stands before his grand teacher again? Will he remain calm? Or will the storm inside his heart finally break free? And what exactly is waiting for Alex after his return? Because his awakening is only the beginning. Chapter 60 will continue in Part 2. And one more important announcement. For all our Indian listeners, the same content will also be uploaded in Hindi. So whether you prefer listening in English or Hindi, you can continue experiencing the Broken Realm with us. If you enjoyed Chapter 60 Part 1, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with someone who loves dark fantasy and audiobook stories. Your support helps the Broken Realm continue growing. Turn on notifications, because Chapter 60 Part 2 is coming soon. Until then, remember, Alex has returned, but Greyfard may not be ready for what comes next. This is the Broken Realm by Aneeh Rai. See you in Chapter 60 Part 2.